Hello and welcome everyone again to another video. In today's video again, we'll be talking about the top teams in the Ultra League Open, the Open Ultra League Cup. And by the way, tomorrow I will be dropping a video about the top teams in the Ultra League Premier Cup. So, if you guys know, Ultra League is dominated by legendaries and XLs. It's 2500 CP, and the main used Pokemons are like Registeel, Cobalion, Giratina. Tapu Fini has been used more since last season because like someone hit the first one to hit legend, he hit legend during Ultra League with Tapu Fini, and ever since Tapu Fini just became like the most used water Pokemon in this cup. Cresselia still decent, still exists, still relevant, but some people prefer Tapu Fini for the fast move pressure. Now moving to talking about like the main Pokemons in this cup. I divide them into good leads, good safe swap, generals. What's a generals? A generalist is a Pokemon that's good everywhere. So, speaking of a good lead, leads are generally like Pokemons with cheap charge moves, so they can pressure those shields, and they tend to be good in the 2 if you want to decide, like if you decide to win the lead, you can just double shield your lead, or you have a spammy Pokemon in the lead. Like as an example, Shadow Machamp and Trevenant and Scrafty, those like Pokemons have a decent fast move pressure, and they have a cheap charge move, and they can pretty much win most of the neutral matchups. Another one is Pidgeot, where Pidgeot can spam those Feather Dance, and the more you spam, the more you make their Pokemon more useless, and the more likely you will win the lead, which means you will have a better alignment for your team. Doesn't mean you're gonna win. Some people now play for a shield advantage or energy advantage, where like they will lose lead intentionally and then they just get the shields back because they will farm a lot. Talonflame has been used less than it used to be. Due to the fact that Cobalion now is more meta than Registeel, where Cobalion has Stone Edge, and the matchup is so scuffed, and if they bait you basically lose, and if you shield the nuke you would still lose. So it's not that comfortable of a matchup for Talonflame, so that's why Pidgeot is more used. By the way, Cobalion still beat both. Good safe swap. A good safe swap is a Pokemon that does very well against the meta, has a decent coverage, and has a decent charge move, spam ability, like Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz is kind of dead in the current meta. Like Coffin, Shadow Snorlax, Regirock. What's this name of this Pokemon? Jellicent. Walrein is the definition of safe swap. Same for Drapion. Drapion and Walrein probably like the best safe swaps in the current meta. Generalists are like, as I said, Pokemons that are good in the lead, good in the swap, and they have a decent closing potential. And the best closer Pokemon in the Ultra League is basically Registeel. That's why you can never be weak to Registeel, because that means your team is bad because you lose to the best Pokemon in this league. And the best Pokemon by far is Registeel. I know some people will be like, yes, I tried to use Registeel and I couldn't win. That's because they have 3 counters to Registeel, not because Registeel couldn't win. Registeel beat everything as long as it's not a hard counter, like a very hard counter. Like Registeel against Swampert it's a very neutral matchup. You could say that if you have like 2 lock-ons lead and you shield 1 Earthquake, and then like the matchup is fine. I'm talking about the very XL traded IV, low attack, high defense HP. I'm not talking about the raid IV or like a lucky IV. You have to have a decent IV, or you can just power up a Cobalion. Literally doesn't need XLs, and it's not that expensive compared to Registeel, and it has more spammable, like more charge move, like it can spam charge moves much faster, and it has a decent coverage. Probably lose to Cresselia, unlike Registeel, but hey, it's a legendary that doesn't require XLs and not that expensive. So 100% worth the investment. Gliscor has been used more recently due to the fact there is Virizion, there is Cobalion. There is lots of Pokemon that Gliscor can beat, and not everyone uses, so it's kind of like an off-meta Pokemon that's being used due to the fact that most of the teams are weak to Gliscor, but not everyone uses it because if they have a Walrein, that's basically a GG. Tapu Fini Gliscor. Tapu Fini is also good because it beats Gliscor. Upper Shield can beat Registeel, and it's fine against Cobalion. It can beat Cobalion unless Cobalion has energy lead, and Virizion is good, and it's part of those ABB teams that's like a Flyer, Cobalion, or a Registeel with in the back Virizion or a Tapu Fini. So Virizion is good at being a second Cobalion because basically same weaknesses, but it covers the ground weaknesses to the steel, where like it just walls the Swampert and there's nothing Swampert can do, and it has the same stat product as Cobalion, same stat, same attack, same HP, same defense. So those are like the most meta Pokemons. Now let's talk about some off-meta or anti-meta Pokemons. The best anti-meta Pokemon here are probably Kommo-o and the Sheep, aka Double. Double is like kinda too expensive because it spawned only for 3 days, and there was a spotlight hour. So if you have the XLs, that's because you played those. If you didn't play that window, you missed it and you can't build it because not everyone has it. I mean, I myself has one, but I don't have one for the Great League as an example. Deoxys defense is good. Is it relevant in the meta? Well, it's a good Pokemon, but the problem with it is that there is so many dark Pokemons, and the matchup versus Registeel is so scuffed. If Registeel gets a debuff, you lose, and there was so many ghosts. So it's not the best Pokemon to use, to be honest. So that's the problem with Deoxys defense. Like the charge move, like it's so good in Great League because you can Psycho Boost and dip. And Ultra League, the problem with that is that even a super effective Psycho Boost won't do anything. So imagine a neutral Psycho Boost. That's basically nothing. So it's not gonna do it. It's not very rewarding Pokemon. So yes, it's very bulky Pokemon, but you still don't beat that many stuff. Obama Snow, it's kind of a meh Pokemon, not gonna lie. It's not as good as it used to be because now the meta is basically Steel and Flyers. And the Goats, all of them have fighting fast move, so that's a thing. Venusaur, same, it doesn't beat Steels and it doesn't beat the Flyers, which are the main meta. Giratina Origin has fallen off in the Ultra League meta because Giratina Origin does everything better. The Giratina Ultra does everything better, like literally. Like it beats Registeel more comfortably. I think Giratina Origin is better against Tapu Fini if you have Energy Lead, but if you don't have Energy Lead, the matchup is still so bad. Greedent. Well, I like Greedent. I'm a big fan of Greedent. The problem with Greedent is that it doesn't hit the Steel, and the Steel are very hard to beat if you don't have a Steel answer. So that's the main issue with Greedent. If you have an answer to the Steel, Greedent is good. If you don't have an answer to Steel, Greedent is bad. Nidoqueen, the nerf actually hurt Nidoqueen a lot. It's not as good as it used to be, but it has still has a decent spot in the meta where you can still use it as long as you dodge the Walrein. Blastoise is so slow. I wish they give it, I don't know, Wither Ball Water instead of Hydro Cannon, because it does take forever to get the Hydro Cannon with Water Gun. I am hoping for next season they give Blastoise Bubble. And that's like gonna be not that huge upgrade for the Blastoise, but it will make Blastoise meta, okay? Please, Niantic, if you're watching this video, give Blastoise Bubble, okay? Because it's unusable. Like, you can't use this Pokemon. I can't believe how good Charizard and Venusaur, are good in every meta. Venusaur has been great in every meta since Season 1, and Blastoise has been so bad and the worst starter to use just because of the fact that it takes forever to get to a move. And even when you get to a move, because it's a bulky Pokemon, it's not that good. And like literally Snorlax does everything better. So I don't know. This video is not supposed to be a rant, but yeah, sorry for that. Politoed has fallen off of the meta very hard after the nerf. It used to be one of the greatest Pokemons in Ultra League, but now with the nerf to the Wither Ball 3 or 4 seasons ago, now it's very bad. Escav is just there. It's a counter user if you want a counter user to use. Now, these, like, we talked about the meta Pokemons, the anti-meta Pokemons. Now, let's talk about the top meta teams, not just Pokemons. The most used Pokemon team, according to Go Battle Log, is Tapu Fini, Scrafty, with Talonflame. And here's the thing: for any team I mention, if there's a Talonflame, that means you can use a Charizard. Okay, and if you want to use a Charizard, you can also use the Shadow Charizard. In fact, I'm a big fan of Shadow Charizard over Talonflame and non-Shadow Charizard. So this is the best team according to Go Battle Log, and it has a decent coverage. Basically, you're weak to Trevenant in the lead, and you have 2 hard answers to Trevenant in the back. You lose to Registeel technically in the lead, but you destroy Registeel in the back. There is not that many things I could think of like beats that. Those are 3. Pidgeot in the lead is annoying to deal with, but Tapu Fini is fine, and most people just Feather Dance, and if you can call a Feather Dance bait, believe me, you're gonna win. Because everyone is just goes straight Feather Dance. Another solid team according to Go Battle Log, and I think this was the team someone hit legend with. Tapu Fini with Trevenant and Stunfisk. Why Stunfisk? Because the person who hit legend with this team doesn't have Registeel or a Cobalion, I believe, and Stunfisk was their like main XL Pokemon. The team was Walrein, Trevenant, A9, Trevenant, and Stunfisk, and he didn't have a Tapu Fini. Then people started using Tapu Fini because Walrein, after the nerf, is not as good as it was before the nerf, and Tapu Fini is slowly replacing Walrein and then the meta. So these are the teams according to Go Battle Log. Now, what are the best teams according to PvPoke? The best team according to PvPoke is Pidgeot Double Steel. Why Pidgeot Double Steel? Because whatever beats the Steel, lose to Pidgeot. And so this is like an ABB team. ABB Double Steel. Like, you know, like the Sims love Steel Pokemons. I do see why, because Steel Pokemons are just too great. And the Sims does the building stuff against like the entire eligible Pokemons, and that's like the main thing about running suggested teams, because yes, you beat everything, but there is 10 to 15 Pokemons that everyone use. So technically this team is supposed to be the best team on paper, but when you use it, it doesn't perform as it's supposed to. Another so this is the top team from last Ultra League Open rotation. The best team according to PvPoke from last season, it was Cresselia with a Swampert or Walrein with Talonflame. And this is from last season. And again, since there is a Talonflame, you can use a Charizard. Since there is a Charizard, you can use Shadow Charizard. So this team is still solid. Cobalion is scuffed if you have Walrein, so that's why you should use a Swampert now. Tapu Fini is a bit annoying, so you should use Walrein, because Walrein beat Tapu Fini, because you get to the Earthquake before they get to the Moonblast. So yeah, you choose, okay? And you run Grass Knot here. Why you run Grass Knot? Because Tapu Fini is a Cold Breaker to your back line, so you need to have a better coverage against Tapu Fini in the back. And again, Tapu Fini is a very solid meta Pokemon that most people are using nowadays. Another team that's a triple legendaries. Basically, the concept behind this team is 3 legendaries you can use. It used to be Cresselia, Giratina, Registeel. Cresselia with Grass Knot with the Swampert. Now, you don't need Cresselia. Cresselia is very slow, and Tapu Fini actually does pretty much similar stuff, but faster. Cresselia is slightly better against water. This thing is just more fast move pressure, because whenever you use Giratina and Registeel, there's almost no fast move pressure because those two do not have a stack stats. Same for Cresselia. So yeah, if you are someone who likes legendaries, this is the team I recommend. But the team I play, the team I use, the team I like, it's Tapu Fini with Coffin, or Frisian with Cobalion, or Registeel in the back. What's good about this team? I like it. Yeah, that's what's good about this team. It's a code I've been using since forever, and I think it has a decent potential in the Great League meta and the Ultra League meta right now. And yeah, I think I will be making a video about this team as soon as possible. Another team that is budget friendly. I know some people will be like, oh, this is not budget, Shadow Walrein, we don't have it, it doesn't spawn anymore. But my definition to budget is that it's either an XL Pokemon that everyone can grind. As an example, Pidgeot is a budget Pokemon. Because if you don't grind, that means you're not going to catch anything. That means there is no budget team for you. But yeah, my definition to budget is either no XLs and no legendaries, or an XL Pokemon that everyone can use, like Pidgeot, or a legendary Pokemon that everyone can build as soon as possible, like Cobalion. So Cobalion is a budget Registeel. If you don't agree with that definition, let me know what's your definition to budget. So you know, like whenever I post a video about a budget team, I will be more aware of what my viewers consider a budget Pokemon, because believe me, you're not gonna see me using a Machamp Snorlax team ever, okay? Because there is always a better option. Another team that's BBML also, Untradeable Legendary. I talked about this team, and now this is like a very old version of the... This is like a very old version, and this is kind of the new version of this team. Well, not this one, this one. You use Tapu Fini, and you can use Cobalion over Registeel. So you use Cobalion, Tapu Fini, instead of Registeel and Cresselia, because they are pretty much more accessible now, and people like Cresselia hasn't been in the region since forever, and I hope they don't bring it back because it's the slowest Pokemon, and I just would rather, like, there is two Pokemons I hate to play against. One is Bastiodon, two is Cresselia, because they just make the game take forever. Even if they lose, they would stay in and waste 7 minutes of your life for no reason, even though they know they lose. But that's Cresselia players and Bastiodon players. A team that's also solid, and I used to call a budget. This used to be like the team I call budget, because Cresselia is not an XL Pokemon. Same for Giratina, both are non-XLs, and Swampert is a starter. Or Walrein, it's also a Pokemon that spawns in the wild. So this used to be the best budget team, and this is from previous season. Does it still work? I think you can just like lead Giratina and have Swampert with Tapu Fini in the back. This team, did I talk about it or not yet? This team has a very high potential of being one of the most used teams in the current meta. Why? Because it has a good coverage against Swampert. Dude, this Swampert would just run over the entire team. I don't know. I literally get from Go Battle Log, and they said this team was being used, so I have to mention it. This team is basically an anti-Charizard team. So if you see lots of Charizard, remember Gliscor is a tanky Pokemon. It can tank some moves. Tapu Fini can destroy Charizard, and Cobalion can just Stone Edge it. Now moving into another team. Newly buffed Pokemons. So those Pokemons get a buff recently, like last season. Cobalion and Virizion both got Double Kick and Sacred Sword. What does that make? That made them one of the best two Pokemons in the Ultra League. Same for the Sheep, aka Dubwool. Dubwool also got Double Kick, and it has Wild Charge, Body Slam, and Payback. So if you lead Dubwool, you run Wild Charge. If you use it in the swap, you use Payback, so you don't get walled by the steel. And you either lead Tapu Fini or Jellicent. I myself prefer Jellicent more, but Tapu Fini also can work. Some old teams as well that has been great ever since forever. Just 3XLs, I call it. And this team has been a solid team in Ultra League and Ultra League Premier with Scrafty, Jellicent, and G-Fisk. The team started by got popularized as like the first Triple XL team. And yeah, that was like the main purpose of those three Pokemons. What does it do? It has very bulky and it has a decent coverage. Mandibuzz used to be like kind of a core breaker, but it's manageable. Like Scrafty versus Mandibuzz is not a bad matchup. You win if they have Snarl. You might lose. Now I think Pidgeot is annoying, but you can run Bubble Ice Beam Jellicent and you can flip that matchup. Another team that you can use. I hate Steel. You basically run triple Steel Pokemons. Charizard doesn't reliably beat Steel. You have to be up a shield to beat the Steel, but the good thing is that Scrafty can destroy most of the Steel in the Zero. Cobalion is a bit worse nowadays, so this team doesn't perform as it used to. So that's why I recommend like the first 5 to 10 teams, because these are like some teams from old seasons. Like as an example, this team, NCK in shambles. NCK can't use this team anymore because Cobalion would just beat 1-2 and he only has one answer, and Trevenant versus Cobalion is so scuffed because Cobalion is just so busted. So the new NCK team, he just replaced it with the Charizard because NCK is very creative content creator. Make sure to check his live stream at twitch.tv/NCK228. He loves all his Obstagoon. Last but not least, lower skill. If you don't have skills and you like to play the game and you like to win and Go Battle League, Obstagoon Double Charm is the team. You can use Cobalion Double Charm as well. You choose. You don't need skills. You just spam whatever charge move that pops up on your screen. And if you lose lead, just swap, because this is an ABB team. You have a second option. You can use either Sylveon or Clefable, because Clefables, I believe, is like the most expensive charm to build, but it's very, very bulky. Is that it? I mean, we couldn't mention Open Ultra League without talking about the Wholesome team, which has been the most consistent team since forever, just because Wholesome has been playing it, and he taught everyone how to play that team, where like he mastered every matchup in the lead or in the swap or in the back. He used to use Amok, and then he replaced Amok with Stunfisk. Now you can use Cobalion as well and call it Wholesome 3.0. So yeah, that's basically like most of the teams. And this team, the team I always mention, because by the Crimzink19 on the twitch.tv/Crimzink19, one of the most entertaining streamers out there. He runs bad teams, sometimes even good teams, but he played badly as well. Make sure to check his live stream, you'll figure out what I mean. And yeah, I think that's the end of the stream. Oh wait, I forgot to give a shout out to Wholesome. Imagine using Wholesome. Okay, so it's Wholesome's, so his Twitch is like Wholesome _. So it's a twitch.tv. Yeah, okay, 1 second. twitch.tv/Wholesome _. And if you checked his stream, just type in chat, "Hey Wholesome, I came from Yasser YouTube video and he said you're too good." Just say that. And yeah, that's the end of the video. Thank you so much everyone for watching. If you like the video, make sure to leave a like, new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, because 75% of my viewers are non-subs. So please consider subscribing. It helps the channel to grow and help us as well. So yeah, that's it for today, and see you in the next video. Peace.